Hey, what's up, guys? Brad Dalius coming to you from the Long Beach Towne Center. It's the summer concert series, and we're very excited to be joined today by singer-songwriter Natalie Gelman. How are you doing today, Natalie?
Really good, really good. I'm glad to be here and playing and enjoying being a part of the series.
Fantastic. Well, it's great to meet you, first and foremost. Great to be here. It's the first time that I'm here, and it's a great venue. For anyone who hasn't been here, you should definitely come out and see a show. Talking about you, though, specifically, just right off the bat, Natalie, if you could, talk about, your career, where you're at right now, where you've come from, kind of give a brief summary to our listeners and viewers who maybe aren't too familiar with you.
Sure. Well, I'm a singer-songwriter. I grew up in New York City, and that was a big part of my music for a long time, and still a theme, and the grit that people have and think of for New Yorkers is kind of a theme in a lot of my music. I've put out 2 albums, and I'm based here in Southern California now in a town called Ojai, which some people may have been to and traveled to. But I tour all over. I tour all over California. I just did a tour of Europe last summer, and working on my 3rd release to be coming out pretty soon, I hope. But finishing that up, it's like a full length with 14 songs at the moment, so nice. It's a bit of a beast. But once that's out, I'm going to be hitting the road really hard again, all over.
Awesome. We love it. We love chatting with, singer-songwriters like yourself who are out there on the road, getting out and about, getting their stuff out there. I want to talk about your music for a moment. Do you enjoy the music process, the writing process of music, and what music are you currently writing right now? Take us inside, Natalie is kind of like, exactly, there you go.
Yeah, so, well, I'm not writing too much right now, but this project that I'm working on, this album, been working on for about 2.5 years by the time I'll be done with it. And part of that's because I was touring, and the people who I knew I wanted to work with were touring, and I've gotten not precious about my work, but specific, and I knew I had a vision for what I wanted to create. And then there were times when, because it was taking so long, it got to a bit of a perfectionist place, and I couldn't let it go. So I'm starting to really let it go, and it's basically like letting go of your child when they go off to college. It feels so precious, but I'm having all these new ideas for songs, and so that's why I know it's time to let go of this one so I can write the next one. And the writing process, like you were saying, writing songs is my favorite part of, it's actually a tie between writing songs and playing them live for people, and really meeting people and seeing the connection and the inspiration that people get from the music. So the studio is not my favorite thing, and I'm so excited to be putting this behind me and get to write again. Does
the whole process come easily to you, or is it something you have to work at? What's it like for you?
There's so many different things in what I do. So I'm an independent musician. I have different people who are on my team. I have a lawyer and an agent who helps me sometimes, and my producer. But I do a lot of things myself. And even with this record, I'm co-producing it with someone who produced my last record. Charlie Midnight and I are co-producing. And Charlie's produced everyone from James Brown, Joe Cocker, Joni Mitchell, Hilary Duff, Cher, Barbra Streisand, crazy people. So I'm co-producing with Charlie, but it's because I'm so in my music, and a control freak. No, but so
we all are a little bit.
If you're an artist, right? It's you have to care. And I know my music better than anyone, really. And so there's so many parts of what I do that some of them I know I'm not good at, or I hate them, and some of them I totally thrive at. I think, and it just depends. I've done everything from booking myself, all that tour in Europe I booked, and it's not something I enjoy at all, but it's definitely, you teach yourself some tricks to. It's inspiring when you do get a few shows and you're like, wow, I'm playing in the middle of France, in the Provence, or I've booked myself a tour. Cool. Yeah, you're like, this is cool. I'm totally rocking this. And I went through 8 countries, and I know that I drove. I mean, even that alone, I rented a car in Germany and drove on the Autobahn. And I'm a New Yorker. I didn't start driving until I was 25. So that was a big deal.
You mentioned how you're originally from New York. When did you know you wanted to make the move out here to LA?
Well, I moved out here 5 years ago, and I actually signed a production deal with Charlie Midnight and Mark Needham. And I mentioned Charlie before, but Mark produced The Killers and Imagine Dragons, Fleetwood Mac, and so they signed me to the same deal, development deal that Mark had signed The Killers to and Imagine Dragons to, and it was sort of a no-brainer. And I came out here and I made Street Lamp Musician, which was my last record with them, and I came out here thinking that I would never live here. Not gonna lie, I had visited LA. I was not a fan of LA. I'm still touchy on LA. I was just stuck in a lot of traffic coming down here, and the New Yorker in me is like, there's a better way. Right. But LA grew on me. I mean, I love the weather, and I love where I live now. It's north of the city, but I still get to come down, and now that I know my way around rush hour traffic, it's not as bad as it was when I used to visit. And yeah, I met a guy actually and fell in love, and we're engaged. So Ojai and California are sort of a permanent thing now.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm stoked. I love it here.
If you could for a moment talk about the process of having the ability to persevere in this industry. It's not something that if you want to be able to achieve success, it doesn't come together overnight. What's the journey been like for you to this point?
I think that that's part of being an artist, and you have to make peace with that. Always questioning, is this work good enough? Am I good enough? Is there a place for me in this industry? And I definitely am lucky that I have a lot of people who do affirm my work. I have, not a huge amount of fans, but enough fans that will send me emails when I write a newsletter like, hey, I just want to let you know that, this song, I love this song, or I love this story, or I just feel like I need to tell you that you matter to me. And so I'm really fortunate that I have that. And I actually put all those things into a file called Fans Rock. It's funny. I'm listening to myself say that. It's like, fans are your rock. And that's why you do it. If I wanted to stress myself out less, I wouldn't record. I wouldn't go through the trouble of listening to myself and recording myself and then putting that out there, because I hate listening to recordings. I've gotten better at, I actually comped my own vocals on this new CD, and have really been in it on producing it, but it's not something that I genuinely love. So it's for the fans that you do it, and that connection. And then you have to have something to say. And for me, about the perseverance, that's my message. And it's also what my practice of it. They're always striving. And it's just, I've always known that this is what I want to do. And I've known people and have had very close relationships with people who didn't have that sort of guiding thing where they felt like they had to do something in life, and it so doesn't compute with the way I view the world. I'm I've always wanted to sing, I've always had something to say. Right. So I think that maybe my brain's just sort of different than and if that's you, if you're listening to this and you're like, no, I've always wanted to do something, then you kind of need to put on blinders, and there's going to be people who hate what you do, but you also want that. And people can't really love what you do unless someone else really hates it. You need strong opinions from the public, I think. Kind of going all over the place here, but yeah, I think that you have to be a little crazy to do this.
I think a lot of people would agree with that. There's no doubt. You mentioned your fans just a little bit ago. What is your relationship like with them? Do you enjoy getting out there at events like this here today and kind of mingle with some fans? Do you enjoy the whole process?
I do. Completely. To be totally honest, I was reluctant. I was like, oh no, now we're doing the interview here, and I have some fans one of my super fans is here, he came from Minnesota to the show today. We're in California. I just want to remind people.
He's a little devoted.
He's devoted. And he's a personal friend now. The first couple times he did that, I was like, you're crazy. Who are you? But no, he's amazing. And one of the people that I will send ideas to and stuff and be like, what do you think about this? And just, you have those, they're friends. They're not even fans anymore. There definitely are... it's definitely a weird thing for me to even say, or when people ask me for my autograph, it's strange because I'm like, this doesn't mean anything. That this doesn't mean anything. But I've thought about that a lot, and it's because I've asked other people for their autograph, and it's like, well, you just want that. It sort of encourages you.
Is that experience a little surreal for you when someone asks you for an autograph?
You know what's weird now is actually that not that it happens all the time, but that like when I am playing and I'm touring a lot, I'll sign autographs often enough that then when I go to like Starbucks and or somewhere and they're like, we'd like your autograph, and they're trying to be cute when you're checking out at the counter, you're like, it like flips your switch on of like normal person to like performer mode, and you're like, wait, what? Like, this is actually like, because I sign my name differently. I'm signing a CD or I'm signing, but yeah, it's no, it is. At the end of it, I just really think that what I was saying is I think we're all equal, and I think that that's the kind of thing that makes it seem like you're not. But I want people to realize that I just want it to somehow encourage someone, but not to like for them to like idolize me in any way. And there's definitely a weird thing that happens too, where people will listen to the music and think that they really know me, and sometimes they really do. So I'm very honest in my songs, and sometimes people will put 2 and 3 together and realize like exactly what a song's about, to the point where you're like, oh my god, how did they know that? You know,
Exactly.
like. But other times it's the flip side of that, where you're like, whoa, that's not me. That's just this embellished version of life and my coolness. Because there's a song of mine that's like super fiery and like badass, and I'm like, I'm way not that badass, like just in song.
Just in song.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, Natalie. You know, we're really excited to be here with you to experience all this with you today. For people who want to keep up with you and your music and everything new that you're putting out there, where should they go?
Well, NatalieGelman.com is the hub for everything. I'm pretty active on Twitter, and then again on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Yeah, I'm all over social media. Don't find me on Snapchat. I don't really snap.
There you go, everywhere but Snapchat for Natalie. Natalie, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. All the best to you going forward in your career. I think probably the sky is the limit for you.
Oh my God, you're so sweet. Thanks, Brad. It's really been fun talking to you.
You as well.